Hello, it's Athena from Courage Coaching. I hope you're all doing okay. Like I said in the last video, I'm going to follow up on doing a couple of different manipulation tactics used by narcissistic parents. And today's topic is going to be a manipulation tactic which is sort of the opposite of what I talked about in the last video. Now in the last video I talked about infantilization, whereas in this video I'm going to talk about parentification. And it's about the adult, so the parents, parentifying the children. So the parent gives the children unfair responsibilities and gives them things to do that are only really supposed to be done by an adult, by a parent. And when a child is given this extra responsibility, it can take away from their own personal time, and it can take away from their study, from their play, from their friends, and it can cause a lot of stress. And for a child, it feels like they're carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders. Parentification is when parents give the children unfair and inappropriate responsibilities because the parent wants the child to meet certain emotional or physical needs that they may have. And it's usually the eldest child in a family unit or the most able child that is burdened with this. So for instance, the parent may want the eldest child to look after the younger child in the family, and that eldest child might take on responsibilities of getting the youngest ready for school, doing homework with them. It might be that they have to prepare the breakfast. It might be that they have to read them a bedtime story and get them into bed because the parent doesn't want to do it, or the parent doesn't have time, or the parent is too sick. Because a lot of the time a child becomes parentified when the parent is unwell, when the parent has mental or physical difficulties or illnesses. And usually when a parent is unwell and is ill, the child automatically becomes parentified. The child automatically takes on more responsibilities than it should and almost becomes a carer in the family. So with the parentification, there are two types of parentification, the physical and there's emotional. Now the physical one is usually when the parent may delegate different tasks to the child that take away from the child's own time. So it might be that they ask the child to do excessive cleaning in the house, excessive cooking in the house. It might be that the child is responsible for dispensing medication. Another one is that they may have to discipline a younger or a brother or sister. They end up having to get their younger brother or sister ready for school. So any responsibility that takes away from the child's time, that is when the child is parentified. So the second one is emotional parentification. In this case, a child is made responsible for the emotional, psychological needs of the parent. For instance, the parent may treat their child as a confidant or a therapist or a best friend. They may confide in the child. They may talk to the child about personal problems. They may talk about their sex life, for instance, with their child. They will maybe want the child to become a bit like a surrogate therapist or a surrogate partner. So if the wife is having troubles with her husband and she has a son, then it may be that the son is then parentified to sort of fill the needs of the mother. This is also known as emotional incest. And emotional incest is basically another way to describe parentification. So another thing that falls into the emotional category of parentification is, for instance, when the parent is mentally ill, the parent has depression or anxiety and isn't coping, then the child will immediately feel responsible and will feel like they have to look after the parent. The emotional side also can happen in families where there is an alcoholic. So when the mother or father is an alcoholic, the child will find the mother or father passed out on the sofa. They will make sure that they're okay. All these things make the child grow up before they're ready to. And all these things make the child feel more responsible when they shouldn't. Lastly, another example of a child being parentified is, for instance, like I said, when there's a younger sibling, and sometimes when there is a sibling in the family that has special needs, then this is also another imbalance in the family which can cause the child to care for their brother or sister, for the parent to maybe just allow them to do that because the parent is exhausted from looking after the disabled or special needs sibling. So then the child will take on the responsibility of looking after their disabled sibling, as well as maybe looking after the emotional needs of the parent. So basically the emotional side of parentification, the emotional incest, is usually the more destructive of the two, because this can really affect the child in a way that their own emotional needs are not met. And when their own emotional needs are not met, that can lead to depression or anxiety later in the child's life. It can lead to frustration, it can lead to anger. The child will grow up feeling resentment. This kind of burden that they feel will develop into problems with intimate relationships. So parentification or emotional incest is a very, very serious form of abuse, as it really affects the child in their own development. They become an adult before they are ready to, and they don't get to be like any other child. So I've experienced both of these types of abuse tactics, both parentification and infantilization, and I can tell you that it's really destructive. It can affect you later in life. I'm in my mid-30s and I can still see what effect these have had on me. So if you are somebody who can identify with this, then please feel free to leave me a comment or send me an email. If you haven't shared the video already, then please do so, because I would like to reach as many people as possible that could identify with this, and that it could maybe be an eye-opener for them and really help them out. So that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a good week, and I'll be back next Monday with another abuse tactic used by narcissistic parents. Take care everyone, and see you then. Bye.